everyone. Hello Philippines. This is Sir Ben, your vloguro of Antipolo City. Welcome to Don Benito's classroom. The world is already in turmoil. The Mother Earth is already in pain and she is aching. What did we do? This is now everyone's call to action. In today's video, allow me to share with you the value of solitude, which is timely in our country today. To start off, Thomas Merton, a Trappist monk, writer, theologian, mystic, and a poet once said, "Not all men are called to be hermits, but all men need enough silence and solitude in their lives to enable the deep inner voice of their own true self to be heard at least occasionally. When that inner voice is not heard, when man cannot attain to the spiritual peace that comes from being perfectly at one with his true self, his life is always miserable and exhausting. For he cannot go on happily for long unless he is in contact with the springs of spiritual life which are hidden in the depths of his own soul. If man is constantly exiled from his own home, locked out of his own spiritual solitude, he ceases to be a true person. He no longer lives as a man." From Father Merton's point of view, we human beings must experience a moment of silence. A solitude that is greatly essential to realize the inner soul embedded within us. In doing so, a man discovers his true self in which he can live the world meaningfully and purposefully. Amid the noise and blusters, it is indeed too difficult to listen. There is already a crisis for the ability to listen. Father Merton suggested the following in his Spirituality that 1. All men need enough silence and solitude. Even machines need to rest. Even the bravest soldier in the battlefield needs to retreat at times. However, this does not mean being coward. This does not mean being weak. In fact, moment of solitude is a proper time for a person to regain, repair, or replenish his lost strength in order to combat life's struggles the following day. You too can relate to that. In reality, it is easier for a person to talk like a noisy cymbal. But it is more challenging for a person to be quiet and still. That in the stillness of one's mind, he is beginning to listen to his heart. He is beginning to detach himself from the clanging cymbals and attach himself with his true self. So, Father Merton added, 2. When man cannot attain his spiritual peace, his life is miserable. So, what is now man's true self? How do we know our true self? We are a complex individual. We do have a bunch of wants and whims in our life. And so, it is becoming too difficult for a person to identify his true self. According to Father Merton, one's true self cannot be identified with the facticity or the givenness of a person. In fact, it is very simple to identify one's true self. And that is being conscious of his spiritual identity. Being with the self is being with one's spiritual self. Our body is just simply a vessel wherein our true self is encased. This true self is connected with the unknown known being, and that is God himself. Once the person finds his true self, he already found inner peace or spiritual peace. And the third one, Father Merton is emphasizing with, is that 3. If man is constantly exiled from his own home, locked out of his own spiritual solitude, he ceases to be a true person. We are a stranger to our own true self, if we are not constantly in contact with our own spiritual solitude. The world is already very small, wherein everyone is connected so quickly. However, we are too close to each other though, we become even so naive to value inner relationship with ourselves. We need to pause for a while. I am not saying that we are experiencing now with coronavirus around the world as a blessing in disguise. With how noisy we are, the universe is already shouting at us to be still. The universe is already bleeding and crying. As the scripture says, there is a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, Ecclesiastes 3-7. Being quiet can be a struggle, but it can also be a good virtue to have. As the song entitled Still reminds us, "Hide me now under your wings, cover me within your mighty hand. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still and know you are God." With that note, I am very pleased to leave a message of hope that despite the pandemic around the world, we can keep that peace of solitude within ourselves and spend that moment to establish authentic relationship with our true self and with our God, the Almighty. This is our class in Benildian philosophy and spirituality. I hope that everyone learns to value silence. It's but proper to lock up ourselves inside our room to pray for each other, to spend time with our family, to be bonded and become stronger even more. After this turmoil, we will rise up and continue our journey and move on. I hope that after watching this video, you will start searching your true self in the silence of your soul. Thank you for watching. May the good Lord bless you. Again, this is Sir Ben, your vloguro of Antipolo City, Philippines. Mabuhay. Bye everyone.